All right. So, good afternoon, good evening. Today is October 23rd, and we are back live. And today we're going to talk about some interesting topics, especially diabetes. I think we've been waiting to start on certain series of conditions, but I always like to go with what was the most interesting thing that I came across in clinic over the last week. So, interestingly, I had a young person, probably the age of 35, 36. This lady came in with feeling very tired over the last year or so, and had multiple uh, days off from work because she always felt very tired and feel too well. She had some urinary tract infections and other fungal infections, eh, and was decided that she should see the doctor because she'd been self-treating and taking time off of work, wasn't sure. uh, so comes in, and I ask her more questions, and turns out that she is also having a lot of thirst. And then when I asked her, like, are you drinking a lot of water, and her answer was, well, yes, but I'm supposed to drink a lot of water, so I have been drinking a lot of water just because I believe I'm supposed to. And so that was one thing. And then I said, are you going to the bathroom a lot? And the answer was, yeah, because I'm drinking a lot of water, which she got it right, because if you are drinking so much water, then you're going to pee a lot. And But I think what bothered her suddenly was that she was also complaining of having blurry vision. So she says, "My vision is going. I'm too young for that." Uh, and then she finally decided to see the doctor. Obviously, we did some blood work, and her blood work came back, and it showed that she had diabetes. Uh, she was not happy to hear that, but at the same time, somewhat happier, somewhat relieved to find out that now she knew what was going on. But it's never a pleasant news to share with anyone that you have diabetes. And I get various responses from different people, and a lot of them kind of know that this was coming, and for others, it's an utter surprise. Um, so obviously this was an interesting moment for a younger person, and they kind of were relieved but not really happy about it. um, so we've started her on medication, and it was I needed to educate on what diabetes is, what she can expect, and how the medication is going to work, and what other lifestyle changes we discussed. Uh, so I thought like this would be a good topic to discuss, although everybody has heard about it, but surprisingly, very few people know what diabetes really is. So let's talk about diabetes today. I am Dr. Vikram Gupta. I'm a practicing family physician in Clifton, New Jersey, and I like to uh, work with my patients and educate them so they can make better, healthier decisions, but much more educated decisions. And when they do some research on the internet or they read more about it, I help them understand that better and help them put these things in context. Um, so that's who I am, and that's what I do. Starting this YouTube channel is relatively new, so please like and subscribe if you find something useful, and share it with your friends. The real purpose of this is to get this into a more engaging live engagement where I can answer more questions, uh, which will apply to your health, the health conditions that you would like to know more about, and the healthcare system in the United States. When to seek help, when you can wait, when you cannot wait, when you shouldn't wait, should you see a different doctor, any kind of questions and scenarios, please feel free to ask, um, and then we can just take it from there. So, today we'll talk about diabetes and what it is. And I'm going to try not to keep it complicated, or it's not for medical students. I teach medical students in the clinic. So it's for my patients who just should understand what that really is and what it means. So, what is diabetes? It's basically a condition uh, where blood sugar is very high in your body. So your blood has sugar in it besides everything else. And the sugar level in the blood, if it's too high, it can cause too many problems. It can affect your heart, it can affect your kidneys, it can affect your eyes, it can affect your brain or the nerves, it can affect your circulation, and it can also make you feel very tired. It can cause more infections. It can keep you more prone to infections. It can keep infections from healing. It can cause a lot of genital infections, like fungal infections, and people can get that more frequently. It's never a pleasant thing. Um and then lead to other complications of that, like a further ripple effect of when there's a problem with the heart. It has a harder time healing or recovering because of diabetes. When the kidney starts going bad, if the diabetes is not under control, then that'll also keep it starts an avalanche of problems. So something to be worried about, and something to think about. uh, so let me just put this on. I should have kept it on do not disturb. So okay, so there are a few different kinds of diabetes. There's type 1 diabetes, type 2 diabetes, gestational diabetes, pre-diabetes, and there are a couple of other kinds of diabetes where you would encounter that, like diabetes insipidus, etc. But most important for us is type 1, type 2, gestational, and pre-diabetes. Uh, I'm not going to talk much about type 1 and not going to talk much about type 1 because most people get this. Okay, so type 1 will still have like a lot of high sugar in the blood. And most people will have found out that they have diabetes at an early age. So and from there they tend to learn a lot more about it, and it's a little bit more complicated. But the other conditions is, why does the sugar in the body become so high? So our body makes insulin. It's a hormone that's made in an organ that's right in the middle, over here under the rib cage, and the top part. It's called the pancreas. That's where insulin is made, which regulates the sugar level. So the more sugar, the more insulin you need, and to maintain a certain normal level of functioning. So that balance is disrupted in diabetes. That's it. That balance is disrupted and then that leads to high blood sugar. So I'm going to just say, uh, for arbitrary sake, your level of blood sugar should be 100. Now, if your level goes to 200, your body makes a little bit more insulin and brings it down to 100. And if it drops below 100, your body makes less of insulin and lets the sugar level go up. And if it's not enough, then your liver makes sugar and brings it back up. So these mechanisms are there to maintain a natural homeostasis in the body. Sometimes this is disrupted. And so either, let's say you make this much insulin, and this is just about enough to manage this much sugar. But if the sugar levels that you consume are excessive, too much, that your body's not going to make enough insulin just to deal with this excessive amounts of sugar. And yeah, surprisingly, in the foods that we eat here in the United States, a lot of things do have excessive amounts of sugar that it's not easy for your body to keep up. And if it does manage to keep up, it can't keep doing it forever. Uh, so, uh, so it's excessive sugar intake, and sugar is basically plain sugar, sweets, and carbohydrates. So just breads and pasta and rice, just to give a broader picture. Second is that you're not making enough insulin. So in diabetes, maybe you're not eating that much sugar, but you're also not making enough insulin. So if it's the same amount of sugar and this much insulin is needed to counter it, you just make this much insulin. Your body is making less insulin. So then, even though you're not consuming too much sugar, you just don't have enough you just don't have enough insulin to manage that. Uh, Third is that you're not consuming that much sugar, and you have a reasonable amount of insulin, but this insulin is not being able to bring this sugar level down because it's not being effective. And that's insulin resistance. That's when there's a lot of body fat. Commonly, if we have body fat, and now you're like, well, you have body fat. How are you not eating too much? Well, you used to eat a lot, and now you stopped eating that much. But now you're also not exercising enough to lose the weight. But you realize that, okay, I'm going to stop eating, but I'm still packing an extra 20 pounds that I would like to lose. And that's probably that excessive body fat is also keeping my body struggling with the sugars that I consume. So I see this very frequently, where people are saying, I don't really eat anything unusual. My diet is perfect, which sometimes is true and sometimes it's not. But in general, like, that's what's happening. That you have insulin resistance. So the body fat that's keeping you from utilizing the insulin that you're making. Um, then, so we talked about excessive sugar, less insulin, and insulin resistance. That means it's not matching up. And so this is what's usually happening in type 2 diabetes. Type 1, you're not making insulin, and you started making some insulin, and then slowly your levels kept getting lower and lower, and now you have no reserves. uh, Treated only with insulin for now. uh, Type 1, and usually manifests early, in teens or early 20s, sometimes even earlier. So, and usually it's never simple. People end up in the hospital, and then they're very, very sick. Blood sugar levels are very high. So that's just more unfortunate that most of the times it's not under your control. So that's why that's all you need to know about type 1 diabetes for now, because over there you have less control with the development of the disease. But in the other cases, type 2, um, a lot does depend on you and your lifestyle. Not entirely, but a lot does depend on that. So Gestational diabetes. A lot of women will develop diabetes during pregnancy, uh, or they'll touch levels of pregnant diabetes, which means that some women will be just advised to cut down on sugars and carbs, and others will need to be started on medication during pregnancy so that the baby is not affected. High blood sugar or diabetes during pregnancy can cause a lot of harm to the baby, and that usually needs to be addressed aggressively. So it just might be diet and exercise management even during pregnancy, or starting insulin during pregnancy, but a lot of times it'll just go away after the baby is delivered. It goes away, and and then you maintain a risk of developing diabetes, but it doesn't mean you're going to need insulin after the delivery of the baby. uh, but it does put you at risk. um, then there's pre-diabetes. That is these are your sugar levels which are high, and they are in the numbers between, if this is from here to this way, no diabetes, and from here onwards is diabetes. The distance in between, the ledge, the boundary, the line, that's pre-diabetes. The hemoglobin A1C, you've heard the term. In case not, if you encounter this term, hemoglobin A1C is between 5.7 and 6.4. We go by these numbers that help us understand how bad things are. And 5.7 is just the beginning, 6.4 is like you have pretty much arrived, and 6.5 is like we really need to start treatment with medication. um, Again, big picture, not going into details. If you have questions, that hey, this is what happened in that, and then from here starts happening how the medications and lifestyle modifications are tailored to your particular, and that's what your doctor would do for you. That they would tailor these needs. They'll identify your issues and help you, manage your conditions and how much you can participate in that. So now, what are other risk factors? Obviously, diet is your big one, right? You Whatever we eat, and it's basically three all foods, everything that you consume, for the most part, is divided into three types: carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. Um, I usually, at least a couple of times a week, I end up having this discussion with either my students or my patients uh, about how, what they should eat, what they shouldn't eat, how much should they eat. And a lot of my patients don't believe they eat too much, yet they can't lose weight, or they are already overweight, and there's nothing they seem to be able to do about it. Uh, so, three types: carbohydrates, fats, proteins. Carbohydrates are the gasoline for the body. That's Carbohydrates get broken down into different kinds of sugars, but it's all sugar. So when you hear the term carbohydrates, think sugar, because everything needs the gasoline for the body is sugar. That's what keeps your brain moving, brain going, and the rest of your body. That's the fuel. That's why they advertise Snickers bar, because people are getting hangry, and when you're hungry, you get angry, you can't think straight, and then when you get sugar, your brain is it calms down and starts working better. So sugar is necessary. So all foods are broken down into carbohydrates, fats, proteins, and most important being the carbohydrates. And the brain loves sugar. So the more sugar or carbohydrates you eat, the better you feel, and the more kind of satisfaction you get. Now, that comes in the form of desserts. Kids are honest, they are innocent, and they will always ask. You ask them at 7 in the morning, what would you like to eat? And the first answer is ice cream because it makes them happy. So why not start first thing in the morning? I have not been able to argue with that, and I still just end up saying that no, you can't have ice cream first thing in the morning. But honestly, like, why not? So because your brain, that's what's making you happy. Uh, Rice, pasta, breads, different kinds of breads. They all you find it very very hard to resist. And that's where a lot of the reason is because that's also sugars. People that's what your brain is asking for, and it gives you quickest form of energy, like you eat and you're ready to go. um, so that's your carbohydrates. Second is fats. Fats are reserves. So this is your reserve, this is your pantry, this is your extra savings, you can call it. It's all extra. So that is fat, because fat is a great source of fuel. uh, and it always, like, whales, bears, it just, um, you store energy um, as fat. And if you're consuming a lot of fat, then you're making it easier, because otherwise extra sugar in the body gets converted to fat and saved. Direct fat is also saved, and so just the carbohydrates are used. When you're not eating and when you need more energy, when you need um, food, and you're busy, you're not doing anything, or you just missed lunch, you or at night when you're not eating for like 7 8 hours, maybe 10 hours, that's when the fat is being converted to um, sugars, and being used to maintain, and your sugar levels to be brought up to a certain baseline level. That happens in the liver. Uh, Gluconeogenesis is what it's called. Uh, but you just have to remember that your body will start making its sugar if you're not consuming, but it will not overdo it. It'll sometimes it'll just back off of the insulin, and then you don't have to do anything. Whatever sugar is there is sufficient. But again, long story, fats are reserves. They're used when they're needed. If you're not using, if your consumption of carbohydrates is adequate, breakfast, lunch, dinner, you are not going to tap into your fat reserves. But if you eat more for breakfast, more for lunch, you're always saving a little bit, and that's how the weight is coming on. And and if you even start eating less, but you're not spending more than what you're eating, the weight's there to stay. Third is proteins. Proteins, big picture, they are the building blocks. They are need for recovery and repair. Um, Most important for, again, they are important in some other functions, but a general idea, like when we're thinking in terms of what are we using this for, uh, in terms of diet, they are used as building blocks. Rest, recovery, and repair and recovery, I mean, which is happening during rest, so that's what I was thinking. uh, so proteins, but if you're not really using your body enough to have that it needs repair, if you're not running marathons, if you're not working out, if you're not exercising, if you're not, burning a lot of calories, then you're not really breaking down as much muscle, and so you don't need that high levels of protein. So that's again another discussion. When someone did ask me, like, I drink a protein shake every day, um, and I'm still not losing weight. Well, because the purpose of extra protein in the body is a whole different purpose. So just something to remember. So anything that's not sweet but it's carbohydrates is also sugar. So this is another thing that comes up with a lot of my patients, that, oh, I don't eat any sugar. I don't eat desserts. I don't drink soda. I don't drink any sweet drinks. I don't put sugar in my tea or coffee. Uh, so I don't know where I'm getting all the sugar from. Yeah, because you're eating bread 2 times a day and rice a couple of times during the day. But people don't know that. So it's not that they're doing this on purpose, but rice is not sugar, bread is not sugar, pasta is not sugar, unless you know the concept of what carbohydrates are and what sugars are, and they don't have to be sweet to be sugars. So that is when you're consuming a lot of sugar, the uh, and then insulin is not keeping up. That's your diabetes. uh, what are we going to do about this in general? Let's say gestational diabetes, simple one. If it's too high, depending on how things are going, your gynecologist will either start you on insulin or refer you to endocrinology or high risk uh, doctors, or send you to your primary and you can assist uh, with the management. Pre-diabetes is basically beginning of diabetes. It can tell you that something's not right. You're going to get diabetes if things don't change. Um, and then it can also be genetic. If both your parents have diabetes, there's a very high chance you're going to develop diabetes. So you can, early signs of a very healthy person, but they already have pre-diabetes, A1C of 5.8, 5.9, something to be aware of. And that would only be found on a screening blood work. Because you're healthy, you eat healthy, you go to the gym every day, and you're not fat, you're skinny, and you got a great body. And then you're not able to understand why your sugars are high, because sometimes your insulin is still not enough to keep up with your dietary intake. So it's the compensatory mechanisms of working out, exercising, um, burning a lot of calories is keeping that balance. But God forbid this person gets an injury and doesn't exercise for 6 months, they can just develop diabetes. That's genetic. Uh, so, uh, and then obviously most of the times it's us. We're just we eat more than we should. Simple. Um, and what can we do? Keep in mind that cut down on carbohydrates, and eat less. Most commonly, I'm asked the question, and the people would expect me to say, "What should I eat if I have diabetes?" Uh, Usually, the answer is don't eat less. Less food and less amount of insulin will it is the best way to approach it. Again, that's not the only way, but less food is the way to go. So if you want to skip meals, or secondly is burning more calories, exercise more, um, and burn more calories. You'll be a little hungry, a little tired, but at the end of the day, once the things start moving, you are 10, 20 pounds lighter. Then that's 20 pounds less stress on your heart, on your body, on your back, on your joints. Heavyweight people who are heavy are mostly dealing with back issues. They're dealing with knee pain. They're dealing with sleep issues, sleep apnea, snoring. And then they start getting short of breath. They get short winded very quickly. And this is even before they have developed any heart issues. So a watermelon is usually 10 pounds. So imagine you carrying two watermelons all day and night. How does that feel? Just go to the store, supermarket or something, carry a watermelon just during the shopping process, just one. which may not even be 10 pounds, and see how long you are able to carry that. And so shedding about 10 pounds, even not even 20, 10 pounds even, uh, will change your life. It'll be life changing, how you feel, how you move. So that's one. Eat less. At the first level of weight loss, I don't care what you eat. You can continue eating junk, but eat less. Reduce the amount of calories that you're consuming. That's goal number one. Secondly, once you become used to eating less and your body is adjusting that, okay, we're not going to die here. This guy is not starving to death. He's just eating less. Your body reaches a new balance, and then you can start eating healthier. You can start making better food choices. Most of the times we jump into like foods that are not used, we're not used to those, and the routine we're not used to, and the taste that we're not used to, and then it doesn't last. But you can eat what you're going to eat, just can you eat less? Get rid of your least favorite foods. Get rid of the snacking. Can you get rid of the sodas? Can you not eat when you're having coffee or tea in the afternoon or in the morning? Can you skip, your breakfast and just have a cup of tea or coffee? Again, that can always be controversial, but uh, if you're not a construction worker and if you're not like going to be doing a lot of physical work, you don't need a champion's breakfast. I think you'll be fine. Uh, so, certain smaller things to keep in mind, like first and foremost, the simplest steps are eat less. How much less? Yeah, eat 10% less, 20% less, 5% less. Just eat lesser than what you ate last week. See if you can do that. Then, slowly, if you're becoming used to that, then you start adding a little bit of exercise to it. Exercise by, let's say, 10 minutes more. Um, I if you can't do 10 minutes, do 5 minutes, more than what you would do. So if you're sitting and you're like, okay, I'm going to start tomorrow, your question should be, what can I do today? uh, if you really are not sure what you can do, you can actually go down, driveway and come back. Like that's like 50 meters. Go walk 50 meters. That'll take you a minute and a half. Just do that much. An additional any amount of exercise, 5 minutes, is better than no exercise, and it should be consistent. Don't go to the gym twice a week for 2 hours, and you're better off spending 5-10 minutes more than what you usually do. That's the key, because a lot of my patients tell me that, oh, I'm busy and I'm on my feet all day. How much more do you think I need to exercise? Just a little bit more than what you're used to. If I'm sitting on my chair all day, which a lot of times I do, uh, if I go for a walk for like half a mile, that's a lot more than what I did, what I did all day. And if I don't, then, it's half a mile less, but there's no other exercise. But now your job might be you work at Amazon or customer service, or you're on your feet all day, and you probably with step count you're touching 7,000 steps, 10,000 steps. Or you want to tell me like you're walking for 3 miles every day? Uh, Good. Do 10% more. 700 steps more. 500 steps more. That is the only way you're gonna change things. Eat 10% less and exercise for 10% or 10 minutes more. If you don't know what 10% of exercise you're gonna do, if you're not used to doing anything, then start with 10 minutes. Literature and everybody says 30 minutes. Nobody I've come across has 30 minutes. Start with 10 minutes and then see where you go with that. Eat 10% less and work out for 10 minutes. Simple. 10 minutes you can steal from your daily activities at any time. Even when dinner is being served, you can, go down the driveway, walk around the block, and be right back in like 8 to 10 minutes. It's really doable, possible. I try to do that when really I have no time and I'm not going to be able to do anything. I'll just go up and down the stairs like 7 times. My kids will usually ask me what I'm doing, but that's like it takes 5 to 6 minutes, sufficient. Whatever works for you, and that's really, will change the balance of your diet and exercise routine, your sugar levels, and everything will readjust around that. I think that's a great start. Um, and hopefully, this gives you a little bit of perspective into what diabetes is. It's basically a sugar imbalance in the body. And it's very important. I'm not going to scare you with all the complications that can happen. I think everybody knows someone who's diabetic, and it it's they've seen what can go wrong with diabetes. So let's all get started and go exercise for 10 minutes, eat a little bit less today, and I think that'll start changing your life. Thank you very much. I will see you next week. My name is Dr. Vikram Gupta, and please share this with your friends and family if you feel anybody can benefit from that. I I welcome questions. You can leave that in the comments, or you can put that on my Facebook page, and I can always talk more about any particular topic that you want me to talk about, or help you get any answers to the issues you've been feeling and feel that you could do better. Thank you very much.